Welcome to Minecraft Mini Golf. Here you have an armor stand that you hit using different types of swords that have different levels of knockback to try to make it towards the hole at the end of the course. There's different bounce pads and elevators you could take to get there with the goal of making it in with the least amount of strokes. Now we've been working on a course for a very long time that is started up here and developed down further into the mine, but you don't really need to catch yourself up on all of these. If you don't want to, you can always check these out because I'm going to be working on a section over here. Last time we started introducing this idea of a rune slash temple with different traps and such, and we're continuing that here. So my main idea with this next hole is obviously start the player right around where they left off and kind of have a somewhat of a straight shot, but with this type of like flame trap that moves in a wave, and you have to try to time it to properly land in certain spots within the track, and then we'll have something at the end there that I'll describe later. So I'm going to try to get that in first, try to get the flames spawning in. Here's some semblance of some basic structure here. I decided to use mangrove planks here to indicate where the fire is going to be. I have a spot here in the middle that is meant to be a branching path. This might be a shortcut to a future area with the idea that if you shoot between these two, you get rewarded with that. However, the little thing I had to do is make it a dead zone because carpet won't work here. If I place carpet here, the ball would hit the edge of the carpet and wouldn't be able to come up here, which is why I had to use stairs over there to then place it back on the carpet. So let's get the fire in now. All right, so I put in the fire for this first section here. I have it just on a simple clock, actually, a very long hopper clock in which I just power commands after each one. These all run off of relative commands to the area above them, which is why they're all the same, but they still need to be in this line so that each one refers to the right block. I basically have it set itself to fire while setting the previous one back to air. So this block turns to fire, that one goes to air, and then I just have a special case on this side where the next hopper setting this back to air, and this one doesn't have anything to set to air. But you know, very simple little clock here, and it works out pretty well while playing. So as you can see here, the goal is timing. You can one-shot this if you get it perfect like that, but of course I'm going to penalize that with whatever pattern I do for the second half. If you get caught on fire in any way, your armor stand is done for, even if you just barely pass right through it. So there I jumped over it, which is also another strategy you could try to take. Either way, near misses like that, as you can tell, it's still here for a very long time. It always burns. So that is not a strategy to take to try to get through here. You can try to follow behind the fire. So let it go a little bit here, use this one and then another stroke to get past it. And that will be rewarded with whatever this path is going to be. So let's throw in the second pattern here. Obviously this one's pretty slow, pretty standard. I'm thinking of speeding this one up. However, this one's already moving at hopper speed. So the speed of how I determine this one is going to be interesting. I'm not sure exactly the best way to do that one. All right, so I might have made the second part a little too difficult. Let's get through this first one with a timing like that. And then here I have this one's going this way and then back around. Well, this one's heading that way and back around, and they're unsynchronized. So you do have to have some pretty good timing. What I like to find is try to look against the wall and wait for a time in which both are open, which happens like right now. Except if you use lower level swords, it's not gonna be fast enough to make it through. So that's a place where netherite type damage, knockback 5, is actually really useful. Let's go for that again when I'm not on fire. I should try maybe to remove this by like setting the player's fire tick always to 0 or something, but it's not too hard if you're looking at it from the direct angle. Yeah, there we go. Now I want to look towards where this could lead and where this could meet up and which one's going to be easier. I want to try to make this separate section harder, but a shortcut. So we'll see how that works out. All right, so what I've done here is I've included the split now into the build. So what I have here is I have another little fire bar here that's going on a bit of a more difficult timing, and then it goes up here. And the idea is that you can take a shot from here over and across to this section after going through what would be a challenging fire spot right here. That's where the red marks out. Or if you take the normal route, you would go this way and it would be a bit easier, but it would wrap around and cost you more strokes. So this will be the more efficient way to do it, but it's going to cost you. As you can see, I have tested this a good couple times. It is actually very easy and doable to make that jump. I think you could even do it with a knockback 4. Oh no. It's really close though. So I've just been playing around with that part of the design. Let's test this out. Now, since this is only one line of fire, I don't think it'll be that difficult. Yeah, there we go. It's just another interesting way to go. This isn't gonna be the main challenge. It's going to be what I put here. So let's get those bits of fire in. So I just made a very difficult pattern here where these go in circles pretty much. This one goes this way, this goes the opposite direction, and then this one goes the same as the first but is double the size. And this is a very difficult hit. I actually got something to be challenging as a shortcut. Pretty much. One key thing here is I added these vines here so that you can't just take the easiest route of this one side here, because then you're going to hit those vines and you're either going to miss or you're going to end up on the main track anyway. Like that. There you go. So you have to kind of skew your hit, because here's the thing. When you come up these stairs, you're going to be pretty much thrown against this wall. So I kind of had to do this to prevent people from just using the wall cling strategy. So you kind of have to go at an angle and go between the paths. Now this is moving so fast that it is very difficult to time, but I've gotten it before. Like that almost was it. I'm not sure if it just slid to the end there, but that was really good. Let me try again. See, that one's on fire, so that made it, but that's on fire, so it's going to disappear on its own. What about, no, a lot of this does seem like trial and error, but I'm gonna try to time something. In theory, there's a split second where it is open. There, that technically counts. Even though I'm on the wooden plank here, you could play from there. So it is very difficult, but I believe with enough practice someone could actually get that timing down really well. So with that, I want to then continue this path here, figure out some pattern here. It's getting a little challenging to figure out new patterns to use, but hopefully there's something here I haven't really thought of that I could do that isn't too challenging. And I'm gonna have that loop around and connect back up here to then go on to whatever's at the end. I haven't really planned that out yet, so let's figure this one out. So this is what I'm thinking of going for. So I decided to put a little break here. That's so if you fail this section, you won't just immediately be destroyed. You actually have a chance of taking the longer route, and it allows for people to be able to take it slow here and go like one by one instead of trying to jump the gun to the end. Here is a really interesting move. I decided to go down just to add some variation, but also so I could use these stairs here and land this on carpet, because I like the look of the carpet more, in my opinion. I haven't been able to use it as much because of how the edge interacts with the ball. So my main ideas for these is that these might be slower sections that have a more methodical movement to them, so you can learn them. Same with like this section, but then down here is all red. I want this area to be unsafe entirely, so that you must hit the ball and then run down and hit it immediately after to be able to make it through here. And this being available brings me to my thing about this previous section. I never showed you how I got this fire to move so quickly, and that's because I am doing the dirty work, as you could tell, and I'm using just a repeater clock. This controls all the fire. This is the first 6 blocks. This is the second pair of 6 blocks, and then this is the third pair of 12 blocks. I am manually doing all the fill commands, but it's okay because of how close the blocks are. I can pretty much do them in a methodical way where I am able to just take the coordinates of the next block by knowing to decrease X and then decrease towards this way as it's negative Z, and I was able to work those out. So that took a long time. I'm hoping for these sections I can go back to my hoppers because they were a lot faster, and we'll just keep chugging along. So let's take a look here at what we got. So this first section of 4 kind of alternates in a weird way. It starts at the first spot here, skips one over to here, back, and then skips one to this one and repeats that. So this isn't too challenging. It's kind of like that first section where you kind of just have to wait for that perfect time to kind of hop over most of it. You got your gap here of 5 blocks into the next section. Here I went for an inverse where there's only one line of air that you could shoot for. So up against this block, I would go for the middle one. That should be like there. No. This spot is kind of hard actually because you kind of force to go to a straight line, which isn't the easiest. I think I'm going too light. Let's go iron here. There you go. So then one thing we have here, staircase down is kind of in the way. I could fix that with having something overhang that would stop the armor stand from getting up here. So I'll just say I slid and landed there. I'll be able to fix that with the decoration. So this next section, I've kind of had to expand it a lot further. I ended up including this section as well as this spot because you need more time to do this skip. So the best way I found for timing is actually waiting until the area you're trying to land on is like either right about to be on fire or is on fire because of how the delay works. So try to peek through that section there, maybe there. Nope, too early. There. Perfect. And then you have to run down here and hit it along that side. So without these sections here, it was just this row, this section, and these 2 rows. It was way too fast to even run down here and hit the second time. So I had to even it out that way. As you can tell, there's also this new part of the rock that's been added. This is here so that you cannot land up here on the mangrove, because if you could, it makes this way too easy. There is a little trick that I found out right now. I'll be able to fix this with the decorations as well, but you can in fact just do that and entirely skip this section, this staircase, and land perfectly right here. But of course, I'm not going to be allowing that. I'll be able to put some decoration in the way here to prevent that from happening, which brings me to my final spot right here. So if we take a little look ahead, this is kind of where the Lush Cave ends, as right past this point, everything that has to do with Lush Caves are completely void of said cave. And in fact, we have this nice open area that just immediately ends right here. Now, I can in fact just blow a hole right through to this cave, which further expands out and about, and this cave. These are actually like right next to each other, in which this one heads right into this beautiful big area that I would love to use, especially since I haven't had too many big areas so far. In the previous sections, they've all been really small. I mean, they've had some verticality, and this section I actually had to expand using TNT. I blew this up most of it. A lot of these have been very narrow, as you can tell from this section. So I would like to get to that big area, but that means having to go this way, curve, and open up my own part of the cave. So I'm thinking of doing one last little trick here and then have the hole end somewhere here so that we can pick that up here and keep it going with a different hole. So what I was thinking is I could try to do something with a jump pad. Jump pads are these little bamboo structures I showed you at the beginning that do exactly what you expect. When you put your ball over top, it will send it flying in the direction that you sent it, like that. So I'm thinking of incorporating one of those maybe, and instead of it being super easy like that one was, I'm thinking of maybe having fire obstacles in the air that you're trying to avoid over here, or maybe it's lava or something. I think that could be really cool. So let's figure that out. I don't have as much verticality as I would like. Totally fine to just expand up here. There's a little bit of water, but we could definitely make this a little bit higher up and provide some more space for this trick. It's gonna be interesting. All right, so here's what I decided to do. I went for a lava fall type thing here using dispensers and a very long timing circuit using observers. Yeah, that's a lot of repeaters, and it literally just flows through this observer chain. They all point downwards at their dispensers, and I have them alternating as well. And this is a really particular time I had to cut out for this trick, and I'll show you why right now. So from here or here is about the area you expect to land from up there or down here. If you're coming from over here, you're gonna end up against the wall, and if you're coming from up there, you're going to end up along this line, maybe even a little closer. So with this, it's a timing based thing, of course, where you kind of want to shoot for the openings, although of course going diagonal at all is going to be a problem, and it's going to catch you on fire and you're going to burn up. One little nice thing is I did give the player fire resistance so that this won't be awful and those fires over here will be a problem. I mean, it's still on screen, but at least you're not taking the damage and having to deal with that noise and all of that. So let's try to see if I get a successful one. Another thing you can do, since they alternate, is you can actually take a shot like that against this wall and line it up for this corridor. So I just made it now, and I actually made it directly in. So I kind of shaped the landscape over here as well to provide as many opportunities for a bump and land on the back blocks. It's still gonna cost you a stroke because you're not in the hole, but it's not as bad as having to do that jump again because this is very punishing. Sorry about that. I just actually forgot the staircase I wanted to put over here for the player. That's a common theme I've been doing with all my holes, is making sure that all parts are accessible in survival mode by either following the path itself or the special little guard rail things I've been adding in everywhere. But anyway, this jump, it is doable from straight on. I'd actually think it is harder. It feels a lot easier to just aim for a side and get like a guaranteed shot, but it is still very punishing. If you're too high or too low in any aspect, it is straight to the fire. They just kind of sit there and slowly glide down. Now, some of these will disappear over time just from being in the lava so much. Some of them just don't, and I'm not sure exactly what I should do. I'm guessing when I end up doing the decorations, I might just make this go down really far, and then see, there goes that one. Just go down very far, and then I'll be able to just kill them from there. I don't know about the ball return, because this has kind of been a thing I added in the middle of my whole mini golf. Basically, originally you had to play from the start every time you messed up. So that guy got caught on fire, he's gonna despawn, and you would have to start back from the beginning. But that was obviously too punishing, especially for the later traps, so then I made the ball return system work, which is what sets your ball back to the position it started in whenever it falls out of the course, which is kind of hard to show on this exact hole, but on previous holes it's a lot easier. And with that system, I then introduced this hole mechanic. So I guess I should just detect whenever the ball has fire tick and just turn it into the item, as I've already made the item invulnerable to fire, so that guy's just gonna sit there on fire all the time. It's invulnerable to all damage actually, and I did that because I figure it'd be dumb if these burned right away. So yeah, you can punch these and actually get their item. Sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does. Whenever these die just to pure fire tick, they disappear without dropping their item. So like that guy fully submerged, he's probably gonna die to fire tick. It's weird. I think it's only when they're uncovered for like a set amount of time. But yeah, he leaves no items even though he died. And that's because it's based on the armor stand item that they drop. That's how I give you the ball and clean everything up. So I guess I'll just have to do a thing where as soon as it's set on fire, it drops as an item. All right, so I believe I've just fixed that up. So now whenever it gets set on fire, it immediately drops as its item, which you can go get. I could also just have a command running, see if there's any in there and just like teleport them up here or so. And that should also work for all fire, so all of these as well. All right, there we go. Yeah, so now as soon as it's dropped, it is just set to be invulnerable and glowing. So that should be all of the issues with the ball itself figured out. Anyway, so then the hole ends right here, and that's where I'll continue it next time, except of course that's not what I'll be doing in the very next episode. I have to decorate all of this, of course, and I am simply out of time, unfortunately, for this video. So next video I do, we will be decorating this hole, and that way I have a lot more time to just really focus in on some really cool ideas I have for this area. I know this is not as long as what I usually do, but I just ran out of time for this week. I was pretty busy. Then after this, we'll obviously do hole number 9, which is big. The fact that this is hole number 9 means that it's the midpoint, and it's got to be special in some way. But until then, make sure to like the video so I know that you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you want to know when I post next. Leave any comments about suggestions or feedback you have for the project as a whole, and I'll see you next time. See ya.